I don't usually tell my business to anyone, but I was married for 29 years, and all of a sudden, my wife's demeanor shifted. I don't know why. I know a lot of you will say in the comments, I missed red flags, but she really didn't exhibit lots of red flags. Case in point, I always had access to her phone. Always. If my phone died, I could pick hers up and use it. Nothing ever showed up that was suspicious. Most of the time, if she got a message, the full message would pop up. My wife got everything she ever wanted. I own a successful air conditioning business here in Macon, Georgia, for over 22 years. So if she wanted something, I got it for her. No questions asked. My wife worked as a hairdresser. She has been for about as long as I have known her. I didn't meet her in high school or college. Well, one day after finishing up a customer's new AC install, I go home and my wife is home already. I usually get home before her. She wants to talk and tells me she doesn't want to be a hairdresser anymore. I simply asked why, and she indicated that she didn't have any more passion for it. The only thing I said, guys, was, hey, whatever you want to do, I will support you. She goes on to tell me that a friend of hers says there is an opening for a receptionist at this dental office, and she would like to apply for it. See, we talked about everything until we didn't. Fast forward about 2 weeks, she had the interview for the job and got it. They started her out at $17 an hour, which is not a lot of money, but she enjoyed it because it was steady. Being a hairdresser wasn't bad, as she said, but it wasn't steady. About 3 months into her new job, I started noticing her coming home, maybe 20 to 30 minutes later than she usually got home. I didn't say anything. I just kept observing. She had on the same clothes she wore to work. Nothing suspicious, at least from what I could see. So, that night, while we were watching a movie, she got a phone call and tells me she is going to take it outside. I'm thinking to myself, what? Why in the hell does she need to go outside? I got my ass up off that couch and went outside and asked her what the hell was going on. She couldn't answer, so I take the phone out of her hand and I say, hello. The person on the other side of that phone call hung up. We got into a huge fight afterward. She claimed it was her friend on the phone that got her the job, and they were talking about one of their dental patients and they wanted to keep it private. I asked her if it was her friend, why did she hang up? So I checked the number and called it back. Sure enough, it went to her friend's phone, but her friend didn't answer. We never finished watching the movie. We went to bed angry at each other. The first time in our entire relationship in almost 30 years. For the next 7 days, my wife wouldn't touch me, she wouldn't kiss me, nothing, and I didn't try to initiate anything. I don't know what it was, but I have never seen this side of her. One Friday afternoon, she sent me a text saying she was doing happy hour with her friend after work. This was obviously the first red flag I can think of. She is not a drinker and has never done happy hour. 2 hours went by and I still haven't responded to her text. At about 6 p.m., she sends another text asking me, have I received her text? Still didn't answer. Then she calls and asked, am I okay? I told her, no, I am not okay, but have fun, and I hung up the phone. To her credit, she was home by 11:30 that night. The following Thursday, she did the same thing, but this time she didn't come home. I freaked out, but not lose control, freak out, just wondering where the hell she was. I called and called, and she never answered her phone, and I didn't go looking for her either. By 9 a.m. the following morning, she still wasn't home. I didn't call. I called one of my employees and told them I would be a little late getting to the office. We had 3 AC installations that day. My plan was to go to her job and see if she was there. Well, guess what? Her car was there, and I could see through the window she was at work. Now, keep in mind, she hasn't called me or texted me. I was a wreck driving to work, but I couldn't lose my cool and go off the handle. Well, as my workday progresses, I finally get a text from my wife. All she said was, she was sorry. Guys, I really didn't know how to process that. Why text me now at work instead of last night? And why didn't you bring your ass home last night? That was my thought process. When I got home from work, she was actually waiting for me and told me she was with her friend. Her and her husband are having issues, and they actually got into an altercation. She told me the police came by and made her husband leave the house. But for some reason, I still had doubts. I simply asked her, why not just tell me that? She said she wasn't thinking. She just wanted to be there for her friend. And I was thinking, stay out all night and not tell your husband? Okay then. Well, fellas, that was it for me. I was going to find out what was going on with her. I wasn't going to go behind her, but on a few occasions, I checked her phone while she was asleep. I didn't find anything. She has an iPhone 14 Pro Max, so I even checked the deleted messages and didn't find anything suspicious. Our bank accounts were clean, and I didn't see any suspicious activity. One morning while she went to work, I went online to do research on trackers, anything I could use to track her whereabouts. But at the same time, I thought to myself, I don't have time for this shit. I wasn't going to let her mess up my money. I hired a private investigator. I had some money, so I decided to let someone else tackle this. Well, it took the investigator 3 weeks before he found out what my wife was doing, and everything she told me, she was lying. Turns out she was cheating with one of the dentists where she worked. Her friend was helping her hide the affair. She had a private P.O. box where she got mail. It was crazy. The private investigator knew the manager and owner of that establishment and was actually able to get quite a bit of information. My wife went to this guy's house while his wife was away looking after her mom, who was battling breast cancer, and his wife wouldn't come home for days at a time. His wife's mom was being treated in Tampa, Florida. Once I found out, I didn't say anything to my wife. I contacted a lawyer, went in to see him, gave him all the videos and photos my private investigator was able to procure. When I talked to the lawyer, I asked her if I could change the locks and put her out. She said I couldn't do that. It's the marital home. I filed for divorce that day, and I wanted to have her served at her workplace. 7 agonizing weeks went by with me playing the supportive husband until the process server told me the divorce papers were delivered. When I was notified they were delivered, I didn't move out, but went to stay at a hotel for about a week. I had family and friends nearby, but I didn't want them to know anything. My soon-to-be ex-wife really didn't blow up my phone. She asked me where I was once, and I never responded. At the divorce hearing, she tried to say I abandoned her, I was neglectful. My lawyer shut all that shit down with the report from the private investigator. She didn't get any alimony. All she got was her belongings, but she got 40% of the savings and only 30% of the equity in the home when it sells. My lawyer said it was unlikely that she wouldn't get anything because we were married for almost 30 years. My ex-wife never came back to the house after the divorce. She had her relatives come over and get her things and move her out. On one occasion, her sister tried to say I was being mean to her. Well, I quickly took out my phone and put it in her face and told her, that's why I divorced your sister. I never saw my ex-wife again. I sold the house. She got her portion and that was that. I wanted to try to save my marriage, but once I saw the photos and videos from the private investigator, all of that saved my marriage shit went out the window. I would never be able to trust her again. Anyway, I want to thank Tony for sharing my story. I have wanted to share this for a while, but never got around to it.